Hello and welcome. So it says, given the equation of a parabola below, find the following. So first thing we gotta find, before we do any of this stuff, find which direction your parabola is going, right? You have four options. It's either going up, down, left, or right. One of the four. Now, how you find out which one is which is you gotta look at your equation. Alright, we have two kinds of equations. Alright, you have x minus h squared equals 4p k minus, not k, y minus k, there we go. Or you have y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. Now the only difference between these is that as you look from one equation to the other, you notice one of them is going to be squared, and the one that isn't squared has the 4p attached to it. Okay? Now, if x is squared, that is a vertical parabola. If y is squared, then it's horizontal. Okay? So if x is being squared, then it's either going up or it's going down. One or the other, not both. One or the other. And then if y is being squared, which we notice is what we do have, then your option is either it's going left or it's going right. And how we determine it's going left or right is you look at the 4p value. And then that tells you whether you're going left or right. So x is left or right. Okay, so if you have like 0 in the middle, left is negative, right is positive. Well, if you have a negative number, negative numbers go to the left, and your parabola, the one we're graphing, excuse me, is also going to the left. Okay, so we have a parabola, and it's going to the left. We know that for sure because our y is being squared, and our 4p value is negative. Okay, that is how we know. Okay, if the 4p value is positive, you'd be going to the right. If x was being squared, right, if you had this or that, okay, or if your 4p value is positive, positive is going up, right? For your y values, you would be going up on a parabola. Okay, if your 4p value is negative, you're going down with the parabolas. So that's how you could tell your direction difference for the other versions as well. Alright, so for this one, vertex is always going to be your h, comma k. Alright, which means that now all the other ones are kind of being determined similarly as well. H and k are just the numbers being shifted, right? The numbers being added and subtracting to your x and y, right? But notice that it's subtraction in your equation, meaning you gotta flip the signs of what you see. So if you have a plus 1, that means you're actually going to be minusing 1 as for part of your y values, right? If your x has plus 6, you're going to be doing minus 6. Okay, if you add x minus 6, then it'd be plus 6, right? Whatever the sign is, do the opposite. Okay, now your focus, you may remember, is that point inside the direction of opening. Now what's cool is that it's just a p distance away from the vertex. Right, so if that's your focus, here's your vertex. Okay, and we know that because it's horizontal, what's going to be happening is that we're going to be adding our h value and add it to whatever we find our p value to be. And then we're not moving up or down. If you're just moving to the left, that's not going up or down. K value stays the same. So here, for p, you're going to see that right in front of our x minus h parentheses. So your 4p value is negative 68 here. So that means 4p equals negative 68. If we want to solve for our p value, that's dividing by 4, both sides, and then we get that p is negative 17. Okay, which means that we go negative 17 to the left from the vertex. So that means that we have, starting at negative 6, we're going negative 17 more to the left, but our y's stay the same. Well, negative 6 minus 17, that's negative 23. So negative 23, comma, negative 1 is the coordinate point for your vertex. Directrix is behind your parabola, so in this case, it's going to be to the right of it. And that's also a p value away from your vertex. Now, think about it this way. If you have like a x-axis, right, you'll notice your directrix would be running through the x-axis. That means that your equation is going to be x equals for the line. And then how we find that is that we know that it's just going to be for this one, it's going to be x equals our h value of our vertex, right, x value of the vertex, and we're essentially going to be going the other direction from as our focus did, so we're going to subtract p instead. So that means that in this case we have negative 6 minus a negative 17, or in other words, we're going to be adding 17. So that means that negative 6 plus 17, that is 11. There is your directrix. Okay, now this is a little bit of a vocab review. Axis of symmetry is like if you were to fold your parabola in half, where would that, like the fold line be? That is your axis of symmetry. So you'll notice that it's going the other direction, so instead of x equals, it's going to be y equals, because it'll cross the y-axis if you were to keep going with it. Okay, and then from there, you'll notice that it's like hitting through the focus and through your vertex, so it'll just match whatever the y values of those ones are. In other words, -1. Bam. Okay. And then from there you have a focal diameter. Your focal diameter, that's just a fancy word for 4p. Now, keep in mind though that a diameter is a length, and lengths cannot be negative. So your focal diameter, well, we see that in the 4p value. It can't be a negative number because it's a length, so you just put positive 68 instead. And that would be all of the information for this thing. Alright, thanks for watching.